Let me tell you something I've learned from years of watching how the world works. Opportunity doesn't knock on your door with a golden bell. It hides in plain sight, in places people overlook, in moves people underestimate. Most of the time, when the world is busy looking in one direction, the real game is being played somewhere else. For decades, the West thought it knew exactly how the global order would run, who the key players would be, and where the big moves will come from. But here's the truth. History has a habit of surprising those who think they've already figured it out. And right now, a country that many dismissed, underestimated, or misunderstood is quietly making moves that could shift the balance in ways few imagined. This is not a story about sudden miracles. It's about vision, patience, and the courage to bet on yourself when no one else will. It's about building ports and pipelines when others told you to wait, creating technology when others thought you could only consume it, forging alliances when others wanted you isolated. It's about a nation rewriting its own destiny, not by asking for permission, but by deciding its time. So today, I'm going to take you on a journey through a transformation that's unfolding before our eyes. If you listen closely, you see how small, deliberate actions are converging into something far bigger than anyone expected. And by the time we finish, you understand why the West didn't see this coming, but you will. Now, let's begin. For decades, Pakistan's location was often described as a crossroads of civilizations, yet much of its strategic potential in global trade remained untapped. Today, that is changing with a calculated and ambitious shift. Positioned between the resource-rich Middle East, the fast-growing economies of Central Asia, and the manufacturing giants of East Asia, Pakistan is now reimagining itself as a vital link in the global supply chain. This transformation is not just about geography, it's about infrastructure partnerships and policy that are converging to make Pakistan an indispensable transit and trade hub. Major projects like the expansion of Gwadar Port, integration with the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, EPEC, and improvements in rail and road connectivity are shortening trade distances and reducing costs for both regional and international partners. European importers and exporters in particular can benefit from reduced shipping times compared to traditional maritime routes through the Suez Canal. This shift is also deeply tied to the changing nature of global trade dynamics. As tensions between major powers disrupt traditional supply routes, there is a growing demand for alternative corridors that are secure, cost-even, and politically stable. Pakistan's emerging trade infrastructure offers precisely that. The country's ports on the Arabian Sea open direct access to global waters, while overland routes link landlocked Central Asian states to international markets. By integrating these routes with modern logistics and customs systems, Pakistan is positioning itself to capture the trade flow that might otherwise bypass the region. What makes this move even more unexpected for the West is how quickly it's happening. Just a decade ago, Pakistan's infrastructure was seen as inadequate for large-scale international trade. Today, the combination of foreign investment, strategic state planning, and technological integration has accelerated development at an unprecedented pace. International freight companies are already evaluating Pakistan as a cost-saving alternative for certain cargo types, while energy-rich nations are exploring pipeline and transport links through its territory. For Europe, this development could mean shorter supply chains, reduced transport costs, and increased access to new markets. It also introduces a competitive challenge to existing trade dependencies, particularly in maritime shipping and energy transportation. As global commerce shifts toward multipolar networks, Pakistan's rise as a trade hub is reshaping the map in ways that many Western analysts didn't anticipate, creating opportunities for cooperation, but also sparking strategic recalculations in capitals across the continent. In recent years, Pakistan has been quietly but decisively building the foundations of a digital economy that could transform its global economic role. What was once considered a largely agrarian and manufacturing-based country is now shifting toward technology-driven growth. This transformation is powered by a combination of a young, tech-savvy population, a booming startup culture, and strategic government incentives aimed at fostering innovation. The rise of fintech has been particularly striking. Digital payment platforms, mobile banking solutions, and blockchain-based financial services are enabling millions of unbanked citizens to enter the formal economy, expanding domestic market size while also making Pakistan an attractive player for cross-border digital trade. E-commerce is another sector experiencing rapid expansion. Platforms catering to both domestic consumers and international buyers are driving demand for better logistics, digital marketing, and online retail infrastructure. With improvements in internet connectivity and the spread of affordable smartphones, Pakistan's online consumer base is growing exponentially. This growth is attracting foreign investors who see the potential of a market that combines scale, cost-effectiveness, and untapped demand. Tech exports, particularly in software development, IT services, and remote business solutions, have also seen a surge. Pakistani developers and digital professionals are increasingly sought after by companies in Europe, North America, and the Middle East for their skills and competitive pricing. But the government has been taking deliberate steps to encourage this shift. Special technology zones are being developed to house startups, incubators, and international firms, while tax incentives and simplified business regulations are encouraging more entrepreneurs to take risks in the digital space. Educational initiatives focused on coding, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing are equipping the workforce with skills aligned to the future of work. This surge in technology and digital services is creating a ripple effect on the country's global positioning. By moving away from over-dependence on traditional exports such as textiles, Pakistan is building resilience in sectors that are less vulnerable to commodity price swings and global trade restrictions. It is also enabling Pakistan to tap into cross-border service markets that bypass physical barriers, making it less reliant on geopolitically sensitive trade routes. The speed of this transformation has caught many observers off guard, as the country that was once perceived as lagging behind in digital adoption is now emerging as a competitive, innovation-driven economy capable of integrating into the high-tech global supply chain. Pakistan's approach to energy in recent years has undergone a significant transformation, moving from a position of dependency on Western-backed suppliers toward a more diversified and self-reliant strategy. This shift is being achieved through a combination of new energy diplomacy, regional cooperation, and long-term infrastructure investments. By forging strategic partnerships with countries in Central Asia, the Middle East, and even Eastern Europe, Pakistan is securing alternative sources of oil, gas, and electricity that bypass the traditional supply networks dominated by Western influence. Agreements such as pipeline projects with Turkmenistan, power import deals with Iran, and LNG supply contracts with Qatar are examples of how Pakistan is creating a multi-directional energy portfolio designed to reduce vulnerability to political and economic pressure from a single bloc of nations. At the same time, there is a growing emphasis on integrating renewable energy into the national grid. Pakistan's investments in solar farms, wind corridors, and hydroelectric projects are not only improving domestic energy security, but also positioning the country to export surplus electricity to neighboring states in the future. This expansion of renewable capacity is attracting attention from international investors who see potential in Pakistan's natural resources, such as its abundant sunlight and wind corridors along the coastal regions. By combining traditional fossil fuel deals with clean energy investments, Pakistan is ensuring that it remains relevant in both the present energy market and the emerging green economy. One of the most unexpected aspects of this energy diplomacy is its speed and scope. Historically, Pakistan's energy sector was plagued by chronic shortages, outdated infrastructure, and heavy reliance on imported fuels through Western-controlled channels. Now, strategic moves are being made to not only meet domestic needs, but also to integrate Pakistan into regional energy grids. This allows for cross-border electricity trade, joint infrastructure projects, and long-term supply agreements that shield the country from sudden disruptions. For Europe, this development carries strategic implications. Diversified energy supply lines in South Asia can affect global energy prices, trade patterns, and even geopolitical alignments. As Pakistan strengthens its role in regional energy flows, it becomes a player that cannot be ignored in future discussions about global energy security. The West, accustomed to holding a dominant position in Pakistan's energy equation, is now witnessing a recalibration of power in which Islamabad is no longer a passive recipient, but an active negotiator capable of influencing regional and indirectly global energy dynamics. Pakistan's defense sector has been quietly undergoing a transformation that is redefining its position in the global security landscape. Traditionally reliant on foreign suppliers for critical military hardware, the country has invested heavily in building indigenous production capabilities. From advanced fighter jets to precision-guided munitions, naval vessels, and unmanned aerial systems, Pakistan's defense industry is rapidly becoming self-sufficient. This shift is driven not only by the need for strategic independence, but also by the desire to develop export potential in global defense markets. Collaborations with countries like Turkey, China, and other emerging military powers have accelerated technology transfer, enabling Pakistan to produce cutting-edge equipment that was once only accessible through expensive imports. Its modernization is not limited to manufacturing hardware. Pakistan is also focusing on developing its own research and development infrastructure, encouraging defense innovation in cybersecurity, electronic warfare, and space-based surveillance. Partnerships with universities, private tech firms, and foreign defense contractors are creating an ecosystem where advanced military solutions can be designed, tested, and deployed domestically. The integration of artificial intelligence into command and control systems, the deployment of modern air defense networks, and the digitization of battlefield operations are part of a broader move toward a smarter, more agile military. What makes this transformation significant is the way it changes Pakistan's negotiating power on the global stage. In the past, dependence on foreign military aid often came with political strings attached, limiting strategic autonomy. Now, the ability to produce and even export defense technology gives Pakistan greater leverage in international relations. This also opens up economic opportunities as the country can target growing markets in Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia that are seeking cost-effective yet sophisticated defense solutions. The modernization effort is also about resilience. In an area where supply chain disruptions can cripple a nation's defense readiness, producing critical systems locally ensures operational continuity. The unexpected pace of these advancements has caught many observers in the West off guard, as Pakistan is not only meeting its own defense needs, but is beginning to position itself as a competitive supplier in a sector traditionally dominated by established power. This evolution reflects a broader national strategy to strengthen sovereignty, diversify partnerships, and ensure that Pakistan's military remains capable, adaptable, and aligned with the demands of modern warfare. Pakistan is exploring new ways to conduct international trade that reduce its dependence on Western-dominated financial systems, particularly those tied to the US dollar. This shift is being driven by a combination of necessity and opportunity. In an era where economic sanctions, currency volatility, and geopolitical rivalries can disrupt trade flows, Pakistan is turning toward local currency settlements and alternative payment systems with its key partners. Deals with China, Russia, Iran, and several Central Asian countries are increasingly being structured in yuan, rubles, or local currencies instead of relying exclusively on the dollar. This not only shields Pakistan from fluctuations in global currency markets, but also reduces the cost and complexity of transactions. Such a move has significant implications for the global financial order. By reducing the role of the dollar in its trade, Pakistan is aligning itself with a growing trend among emerging economies that seek greater independence from Western-controlled financial channels like SWIFT. And parallel, Pakistan is studying the feasibility of digital currency-based trade, particularly through central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, which could further streamline cross-border settlements while offering enhanced security and traceability. This would allow Pakistan to participate in the next generation of global commerce infrastructure without being as vulnerable to political pressure from any single economic bloc. This strategy is not just about bypassing risk, it is also about efficiency and opportunity. Selling trade in local currencies can strengthen bilateral ties by boosting demand for each partner's currency, which in turn fosters deeper economic cooperation. It can also attract new partners who might otherwise avoid doing business with Pakistan due to concerns over dollar liquidity or potential Western sanctions. For exporters and importers, it means quicker payments, fewer conversion losses, and more predictable cash flows. The speed at which this shift is unfolding has taken many observers by surprise. Only a few years ago, Pakistan's trade settlements were almost entirely dollar-based. Now, thanks to currency swap agreements, regional banking partnerships, and political will, the landscape is changing rapidly. This move mirrors a larger global shift where countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America are seeking to decentralize financial power. For Europe, this development is worth watching closely as it could signal a gradual fragmentation of the dollar-centric trade system and open up new channels for direct euro-based or multi-currency trade with Pakistan, bypassing traditional intermediaries and potentially reshaping the future of global economic exchange. Pakistan is making deliberate efforts to project its influence on the world stage, not just through politics or economics, but through the softer dimensions of culture, heritage, and tourism. This approach aims to reshape international perceptions and create a more favorable image that can support trade, diplomacy, and investment. Long known for its diverse landscapes, from towering Himalayan peaks to pristine beaches, Pakistan is now packaging these natural assets alongside its rich historical and cultural heritage to attract global visitors. Ancient archaeological sites like Mohenjo-daro, the Mughal architecture treasures of Lahore, and the vibrant traditions of Sindh, Punjab, Balochistan, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are being promoted as part of a unified national brand. International tourism campaigns are increasingly targeting European and Asian markets, emphasizing unique experiences such as adventure tourism in the Karakoram and cultural festivals in historic cities. Improvements in infrastructure, from better roads to upgraded airports, along with streamlined visa processes, are making the country more accessible to foreign travelers. High-profile endorsements from international travel vloggers, photographers, and mountaineers are amplifying Pakistan's appeal on social media, reaching audiences that previously knew little about the country beyond its geopolitical headlines. Cultural diplomacy is another important component of this soft power expansion. Pakistani art, music, film, and cuisine are being showcased at international festivals and exhibitions, presenting a modern, creative, and dynamic side of the nation. Sports, too, are playing a role, especially cricket, which serves as a bridge between Pakistan and its global fans. The successful hosting of international matches and sporting events is helping to restore confidence in Pakistan as a safe and welcoming destination. By investing in these areas, Pakistan is positioning itself as more than just a strategic or economic partner. It is becoming a place that people want to visit, experience, and engage with. This change in perception has subtle but powerful effects. A tourist who has climbed in the Hanza Valley, a chef who has cooked with Pakistani spices, or a student who has attended a culture exchange program is more likely to carry a positive and lasting image of the country. Goodwill can influence not just individual attitudes, but also political and business decisions in the long term. The West, accustomed to seeing Pakistan primarily through the lens of security and geopolitics, is now witnessing an emerging narrative, one that is vibrant, inviting, and rooted in centuries of history and tradition, yet looking confidently toward the future. In the unfolding story of Pakistan's rise, what stands out is not just a single breakthrough, but a series of calculated, interconnected moves that are quietly reshaping its place in the world, from becoming a critical trade hub to accelerating its digital economy, from securing energy independence to modernizing its defense industry, from innovating in financial settlements to expanding its cultural footprint. Each step is part of a broader vision of self-reliance, resilience, and relevance. These developments are not isolated. They are strategic shifts that signal Pakistan's intent to move beyond the role others have written for it and instead author its own chapter in the global narrative. The West may not have anticipated this momentum, but the signs are clear. A nation once viewed through a limited lens is stepping into a more assertive, interconnected, and influential role. And so, as we reflect on this transformation, the message is simple. Change is never announced with a loud drumbeat. It unfolds in determined actions, bold decisions, and the quiet confidence of a people who know where they are going. Pakistan's big move is not a sudden leap, but a steady climb, and the world will soon have no choice but to take notice. I wish you all the clarity to see opportunity where others see uncertainty, the courage to adapt before you are forced to, and the wisdom to understand that the most powerful moves are often the ones no one saw coming. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your open mind. Good luck, and may the road ahead be as full of potential for you as it now is for Pakistan.